Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Romancing Our Stones, your male survival guide to pop culture and media that your girl will definitely drag you. Or your friends like me. I don't know. I like the show, so I really can't use that excuse anymore. I am very happy to be here. This is Matt. Alex will not be with us tonight. He has prior engagements, but we hope that to get him back here soon. But you all are in luck because with me tonight, we have a very special guest host. She is a friend of mine. Not only is she smart, funny, dazzling, beautiful, she's also an expert on mental health and the therapist to the world is what she once described herself as. Kathryn. So Kathryn, say hello.
Hello. Yes, I'm a therapist to all, friend to many.
That's perfect. I'm really glad you're here. So thanks for stepping in. You and I talk about Bachelor on the side anyway, so it just made sense for you to join the fold here. So thanks for stepping in. And this is Romancing Our Stones, and I got to be honest with everyone that's listening. Kathryn and I already had a 5-minute conversation thinking we were recording, and I forgot to hit record. So poor Kathryn's going through the ringer again and the same question. So
we just get round two. We just get to be funnier and better.
I just can't wait. I mean, and now we get to refine our approach, at least talking about what we're drinking. So wait, I have really played football, concussions. What are you drinking?
I am drinking a self-infused old-fashioned whiskey. I infuse it myself with a lot of things, and it tastes really good. What
is your style? I mean, are you sitting there with like jugs of liquor in your kitchen for weeks on end, or
yes,
or how
yes I am.
Lots of cats.
Most of them are not being infused, but
that's good. I mean, that's good. I mean, if they were gone quickly, then we'd probably have a different conversation than we're having tonight. That's awesome. I've never infused. I've infused like pineapple vodka once, I think I have to like vodka more for me to really enjoy that. But it was not. Then someone said eat the fruit, and I think I woke up 3 days later. I have no idea. I wouldn't recommend it to anyone at home. But that's pretty cool. I mean, we have, Alex and I brew beer. I think you knew that, and we've been talking about, or threatening, I guess, that we're going to try our new pumpkin beer that we just brewed. And I had it this week, and it is not my cup of tea or my cup of beer. It tastes fine, but pumpkin is something that you should carve once a year and then don't worry about it the rest of your life.
Well, you are a couple months too late to the pumpkin patch, if you will.
That's an understatement. I don't know why we did pumpkin. Alex chose it. That was a special baby beer brew, and he chose pumpkin ale. And I do have his review from it. Prognosis is not good. You try, you fail. So because I failed and I don't want to drink it again tonight, I'm drinking a Black Butte Porter from Deschutes from Bend, Oregon. 5.5%, drank that last time. It is just a classic porter for a very vanilla guy. We're not here to talk about drinks. We're here to talk about The Bachelor. And again, we're going through the same questions, Kathryn, but please tell me your thoughts of the season so far. Are we dealing with the worst group of girls in the history of the show, or are we dealing with misunderstood people? Are we dealing with pocket sociopaths? What are we talking about with this group of people this episode, this season?
I'm going to say all of the above.
Okay.
They're younger, dumber, and meaner than in any season I've seen before, but also misunderstood. I'd like to throw my flag out there for Victoria.
Interesting. I have so many questions about her. This is good because we didn't get to this last time. We kind of went a different route. But Victoria is someone I definitely want to talk about. So I'd love to hear your theory.
Great.
Like, is she knowingly doing the things she's doing, or does she have does she have something that's making her think that she's actually the victim or actually the best?
So this is my theory on Victoria.
Okay, I want to hear it.
If you will. I think that she is still stunted from middle school, when it was really cool to call each other sluts and whores. I mean, she's like close to my age, and that's what we did in middle school. And I think well, I know. Don't tell anyone.
Okay, don't worry. No one listens to this anyway.
When this takes off, I'm going to need you to delete this episode.
You got it. You're on it.
I'll earmark this. This is like something that a lot of middle schoolers do. That's really like, you know, pretty common, is to call each other names and to really put each other down with the way that they talk to each other. And I feel like she got older and she kind of got stunted and like kind of stayed in that phase and never really got out of it. And it's clear that she doesn't have any friends in the house, at least, because no one stopped her bra strap faux pas or like helped her. So like she clearly didn't make friends. And I feel like she just grew up having stayed in I peaked in middle school and now I haven't learned any different.
Is there malice behind what she says? I mean, when she calls someone like a dumb bitch, I mean, is there malice behind that? Or is that just her vernacular?
Well, I can definitely say for 100% certainty, as I know her very well, that...
Yes, exactly. I guess you can, Can you get into her head?
Yeah. Well, that is what I have my master's in. So,
perfect.
Yeah. I think yes and no. I think with her that it's a defense of like, someone's coming at me and this is all that I know how to do. I feel like she never learned the skills to deal with anything, and she's just really stuck in the phase of like, no, you're wrong. Like that is like very common of a 14-year-old, even though she's in her late 20s.
You're a doo-doo head.
Right, exactly.
I hate you. Well, I agree with you. I think that's spot on. What I don't understand is, you know, when she got eliminated, she's like, the house is going to be so sad. And and that was so delusional, you know, like, it's weird. It's weird because I think you have to have like some self-awareness, but if you're calling yourself Queen Victoria, I don't know. I mean, like, I don't know if it's like a disconnect or if she actually thinks that she's the lifeblood of this house. I have no idea.
I do think like she probably doesn't have very many female connections, not to beat a dead horse, but like if she's stuck back in middle school, she probably, like, again, she does not have friends. Nobody stopped her from wearing what she wore. And like I feel like she just doesn't know how to connect. And so, yeah, she's a little bit delusional in that way because I feel like she doesn't really know what friendship.
I feel like she's the type of person that walks by a dress on a mannequin and says, I'll take that. And then it's like, well, do you want to get it fitted? No, I'll take that one. It'll look good on me. Like, I think that's how she approaches her outfits in her life, is just, this is made for me, so I'm just going to just roll with it and not customize my approach to anything.
Yeah. I mean, that's all California people though, right?
Oh gosh, they're the worst. Tell me about it. I think she's from Florida though. Jerk.
California.
But what about, so another character I wanted to know about this in the beginning of this episode with the dreaded 2-on-1 is MJ. I don't think I've ever seen a fall from grace faster than her. You know, because when she first came out and gave him the pizza and whatever, threw a couple of cheesy puns at him, I was like, oh, this girl could go far. And all of a sudden, she crashed and burned faster than I could even imagine.
Agreed. She was super cool. And then suddenly she wasn't. But I think that's why I think she's way worse than Victoria, because she knows what she's doing. She is calculated and Victoria is naive. And so I think, whereas with Victoria, it's like a lack of skills and connection. With MJ, it's like, I've always been on top. I've always been the mean girl. And like the amount of gaslighting that happened in that conversation, to the point where she was even gaslighting like on her little interviews without anyone there.
Yes, where she leads with peace and harmony, leads by example with peace and harmony. I think Darth Vader did that, or Anakin did that, right, when he turned into Darth Vader. You know, it's really crazy because, you know, like, she's sitting there and she's talking, like first off, she's dressed like she broke into a Joseph A. Bank store. And
I was just going to say, she looked like my grandma looked in her church directory photo. I was so distracted.
But she forgot pants. I mean, she literally had a double-breasted coat with no pants on. I mean, literally, the guy that's the Men's Warehouse, you're gonna like the way you look. I guarantee it. Like
totally know that reference. Yeah.
The guys will love it. I think people are laughing right now in Michigan. Yeah, back at you. But first off, she's like, so when she's talking to Matt, she's like, my heart is so big, and I try to show you that. And I thought to myself, like, what if she has a medical condition she's trying to get across, but she's just a really bad communicator? Like, she has an oversized heart, but she really thinks, like, I'm a confident, strong woman, and I'm gonna keep being a bad bitch, is what she said. I don't, and then weak bitches tear each other down, and then they get back and forth with this weak bitch talk, and it was so. And Jasenia's not innocent either, because she kind of sits there, and while she was the more mature one in that situation, the whole situation was not mature at all.
No, absolutely not. I'm sorry, but we're going to use the words weak bitch multiple times in the middle of an argument. Like, I've already tapped out. Like, if this was couples counseling, we'd be going through iMessages.
Yeah, through a communicative service that proofreads everything. And then my favorite part of the whole exchange, though, is then when Jasenia calls her Meredith instead of MJ, and she freaks out. I just thought that kind of shows where, she is in maturity level. It's like, your name is Meredith.
Right. I really liked, though, Jasenia using that as an insult. Like, great. That's where we're at, then go for it. If that's all it takes, then you use that.
Just get under her skin that way. But it's just like, Kathryn, you're like, oh, are you kidding me?
No.
How dare you?
Cute.
So
I also liked how they never, like, they couldn't not get the last word. So they went through like way too long of a sequence of like, I'm done. Yeah, you're done. No, I'm done. Cute. I'm done. You're done. Okay.
I noticed that too. It's like, you hang up first. No, you hang up first. No, I would hang up right now, but you hang up first because you're the one that lost this argument. I was very sad to see MJ go home.
Devastated.
Surprised too. She has a good, future, be like the spokesperson for Garnier Fructis, because if she can keep that volume in her hair by using a certain product, I think that that could work. Yeah.
Lies.
And then all the girls join the room. Someone says, I can't wait to see Matt's fine ass walk through the door. And then it was Chris Harrison who canceled the cocktail party because he was ready to go. Then all of a sudden, Serena, who is the whack-a-mole that just popped up since MJ was eliminated, she's filled the void of the enemy, of the villain of the show, starts going after Katie, saying this is Katie's fault. And Katie's like, what's your opinion on Serena, and what's your opinion on Katie through this whole thing?
They both lost points for me in this. Like, I've liked Katie this whole time. I'm sorry, if you show up with a dildo and knock it on someone to interrupt them, like, you're in forever. But their argument was just really stupid. But I do think, like, both of them knew, like, we're not ending up with Matt. This is clear. Like, we're both getting eliminated in this next episode. So, like, here we go. Let's get our Instagram followers up.
And then, sounds like one of them may be the Bachelorette, from what I've read.
I did hear that rumor.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you which one, but
the one with the fully developed brain.
Yes. So that was leading into my next question. Is Katie very mature, or is she the sharpest chicken in the hen house?
That's a great question. I don't know what the second half of what you said meant, so I'm going to go with
So is she very a mature person? I mean, the way she approaches things, she employs empathy. She listens and speaks when spoken to. She doesn't back down. Is she a mature person, or is everyone else in the house so immature that she stands out as appearing very mature? I said that in a really weird way. I don't know what the chickens have to do with anything.
I mean, I was tracking until you said chickens, but I think that if you threw Katie on a season, any other season, she'd be normal, and she'd be like, she wouldn't really stick out. But with everyone else being 22, average age 23, like, yeah, she can speak with full sentences, and she can use her words for the most part and speak in sentences that are true for the most part. So if that's your minimum standard, then yeah, she's nailing it.
Why use lot word when short word does trick? That's what I mean in terms of speaking in complete sentences. That's interesting. I think that too, and I don't think that in a season with normal people she'd go as far. I don't think she'd stand out because, I mean, as we see later, there doesn't seem to be much chemistry, or not as the same amount of chemistry that he has towards Tyler does he employ towards her. Yeah, so it's kind of interesting to think. At that rose ceremony, Maggie, who has the longest flight home to Ethiopia, gets sent home. You have Ryan, who was literally, I don't know much about Ryan. I know she was a dancer, but I also know that she kept saying, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this. And so maybe it was a good thing she went home.
She had the biggest freak out for someone who literally never spoke to Matt, like not one conversation beyond their limo entrance.
It was bizarre. And every time she was interviewed in the side or whatever, she was just really, really stressed out. And it's kind of like, okay, you should be relieved you're going home, but yet you're sobbing. I don't know. And
I'm not sure you know his last name. So like, I don't know why you're so upset here.
I couldn't wait to be Mrs. Matt. I just couldn't wait.
The Bachelor. I want to be Mrs. Ryan the Bachelor.
And I think it looks like Brittany went home, which I was kind of shocked by. Talk about the worst experience possible. You literally get in there and get called an escort, and then you get sent home, and that's your arc in the whole season.
But she got a pity rose because they were like, we can't send home the girl who just got called a sex worker. Okay, now you can go. Like, you've had your time.
It was bizarre, but I saw her go. Sad to see her go. I actually thought she was mature enough to, or whatever, I mean, she didn't present herself in a bad way, but she just got viciously attacked. And going back to that mean girl mentality, do you think Anna's a mean girl, or do you think that she just got caught in some schoolyard gossip and then liked being the harbinger of the keeper of the gossip?
Anna strikes me as having never been cool, but always been on the verge of being cool. Like, she was like the last person to be invited to like the cool kids table, but she was like at the end of the table, and like maybe sometimes wouldn't get invited to the slumber parties, and so she's just like desperate to be a part of the mean girls.
Are you talking about her or me? Because that describes middle school very accurately for me. I was just
were we not talking about you? Sorry.
Sorry, it's always about me. Yeah, the interloper, the person that doesn't get to sit at the lunch table, gets to eat their lunch standing behind them, and gets to do all the grunt work. Yeah, I would agree with that too. See, this is why we have you on. You have all these insights that we can't put words to. You just drop it down on us.
Just drop the knowledge.
Like a mic drop. So I saw a commercial for senior casting for the next Bachelor series, which I started to laugh because for them that has to be like 43. Just going off of the ages of everyone here.
It's cast-offs from the first season of The Bachelor. They're just like recycling.
Wouldn't that be awesome? That's a great idea.
I'm gonna write ABC. Let them know.
You should trademark it first, though. Like All-Star Bachelor.
That's a wonderful idea. Okay, dibs. Yeah. Everyone, here's this. I have dibs.
Okay, get a domain name. So Piper gets a one-on-one, and Serena gets triggered and pulls Katie into a chit chat, a little chitty chat, where Serena essentially calls Katie the arsonist of the whole situation, and she's the reason why Matt's so upset. She accuses her of not being there for Matt, and she's the one that's causing all the drama around the house.
She doesn't essentially call her the arsonist. She literally calls her the arsonist.
Then they start getting the shouting match, and then I kind of liked how Katie ended it. Katie held her own. She didn't back down. And then she said, "Thank you for your feedback." And then like stood up and left, which I thought was like the best way to end an argument.
Yeah, well, she bowed though. She bowed while she did it, which really was like the clincher.
It's just like, it's like a condescending, like, I know I'm smarter than you. And I know that this is a waste of time. And then Serena goes downstairs and starts telling the girls about how she won the conversation and how Katie essentially admitted she's not here for Matt. And then Katie said another line that I loved when she said, "Don't speak on my behalf because you're doing a bad job at it." I thought that was like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to write these down. I'm like writing it down, under my notes, like bring dildo on first date, pull aside, empathize, don't speak on my behalf because you're doing a bad job. Love that. And then
when you talk to people.
Bow, all these fun things. Talk about sex positivity. I mean, all these things I want to do. And then Serena just looks stupid in that conversation. I mean, I don't know. Do you think she watches that and still thinks she won?
I think she watches it and realizes she lost for one reason, in that she was wearing I know this isn't a clothing podcast, but
no, I want to hear this. I need to know.
She was wearing a midriff hoodie, but she curled it in to make it a midriff hoodie. So like it was a regular hoodie and she just like made it a midriff hoodie and made her look really stupid. And so I feel like she looks back at that conversation and was like, oh yeah, no one's going to take me seriously because I made my outfit look stupid.
And you can't lie when your navel's out. I mean, your navel's a tell. So, I mean, it's
actually what we learned day one at school. Yeah.
I may have dabbled, I may have wandered in the wrong classroom in college, but no, so it's funny too. Speaking about wardrobe, Matt James's wardrobe or clothier or costume director needs to be fired. I mean, I can't remember the last time I wore a turtleneck, and I'm so confused on the weather because he's always wearing turtleneck jacket, and all the girls are wearing midriffs and high cut dresses in the cold. Is it hot or is it cold? I can't figure it out.
My theory is that all the girls are bad kissers too, and so Matt's just having to cover up hickeys the whole time. So he doesn't. No one wears that many turtlenecks, So
and then like we talked about last episode, he had a turtleneck sweatshirt that was a short sleeve turtleneck. It's like those things that people on the news used to wear, where you can't decide if you're hot or cold.
Right, pick one. We're in Pennsylvania in the fall. You're cold. Just like commit and wear the whole outfit. It's fine. The costume designer should be destroyed or not destroyed, canceled. Everyone's getting canceled these days. So cancel the costume person. Hannah shows up. The Never Been Kissed Hannah from Colton season. And they had this really odd camera angle where you just look at Chris Harrison's butt as Heather's talking, which I thought was really strange. And they had a lot of cameras there, and they chose that one that just zoomed in on his butt, and then they did all butt shots on the conversations that were happening as they were looking at the other person. Well, they were trying to make it look like it was a surprise, like we didn't have all our cameras ready here. We're shocked that she's here.
Oh my gosh.
We only have the butt camera.
Who would have seen this coming? And she's like, Hannah is my best friend. If she was your best friend, she would have given you his number in quarantine.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, I can imagine Hannah Brown just sitting at home just laughing, she fell for it, hook, line, sinker.
Sucks to be you.
And you wouldn't believe this, but they allowed her on the show. And spoiler alert, looks like they're going to be mean to her.
This group of girls?
Hard to believe, I know. And they show her in quarantine and she tries to be funny, like squatting a pizza on her head, talking about how she's Rapunzel. And it's just, she has to be one of those girls that just thinks she's hilarious, or she's legitimately crazy in quarantine. So
also, she switched outfits. Like she was wearing something and then switched into a robe, but makeup the same, hair the same. That was all done the same day. They're trying to make it look like she's been in there for days, and they're making her say weird things like I'm Rapunzel. But in reality, she'd already been quarantining because they called her in there, and she was wearing a mic when she showed up. So like clearly.
But if she was planning to come, why is she driving a minivan? Is it because they saved
factor,
Say that again.
Added shame factor. We gotta make it as bad as it could be.
Yeah, I guess that's true. They probably, they saved so much money on the budget from the Bachelorette last season. They probably went up from the coupe to the family van for a couple more dollars a day. But we digress. He takes Piper out on a one-on-one to a dark field, and then they flip a switch and a carnival appears just like the Notebook, which has to be a terrible omen for any relationship because the Notebook relationship is extremely toxic and violent. So I hate that allusion to that movie because, he threatens to kill himself on the Ferris wheel if she doesn't go on a date with him. Yeah. In that same scene, I've never seen it, but I'm assuming that's what happens.
You've been told.
Yeah. We actually have an episode on it. Check it. So they go to this little deal and they do this weird. They do water guns and Piper clearly cheats, which bugs me. If you're so good at this water game that takes zero skill, why are you cheating? And they try to make it look all cute. And then they do like hit the bell for a kiss. And Matt's in the. I don't know. Do you have anything to add about the carnival?
I thought like if I was on that date, it would be really fun, but it was super boring to watch. There was just like nothing that came out of it whatsoever. They didn't have any conversation. Like it was kind of dull.
Well, like half the episode or the scenes were like him walking around. That's break the plate. That's shoot the water gun. That's ring the bell. It's like no crap. We've all been to a fair before.
They didn't even go on any of like the fun rides. It was just like, here, I'm gonna get you this really stupid stuffed animal that you don't want.
And do you remember in Tayshia's season the carnival day that they had with Brendan, and all they did was take a Pop-A-Shot and put cardboard with the names on it, and that was like the fun games. And this one they literally had the tilt-a-whirl, and they had the zipper, and they had all these rides that I just felt bad for Tayshia because her whole season got so gypped money-wise. They didn't get Peloton on that.
Like she's got to be looking back and watching that and being like, wait, really? Like Matt gets these fancy cars and I got a cardboard taxi.
Right?
What the hell?
I swam in a fountain on one of my dates and that was supposed to be really cool. Thanks, ABC. And then they go to dinner and then Matt's wearing I wrote this down, so it's funny that you talked about outfits. Matt is wearing a coat, gloves, a scarf, and a turtleneck, and Piper is wearing a thigh-high cut dress, short sleeve. So this is one of these things, either Matt has zero body fat and he just gets cold really easy, or, we've all seen him with his shirt off, so this is no surprise.
I think that's true. I think that's your theory. You don't need another one because that's probably what it is.
He's
got
really
zero
cold.
body fat.
So I was so distracted by their outfits that I didn't really write any notes down other than Piper got the one-on-one rose. Anything from that conversation you wanted to pull on?
I will say that I do like Matt in these conversations because he actually can reflective listen and has more to say. Like the last several bachelors have just been like, cool. Yeah.
I love stuff? That. I love stuff. Yeah.
Or like Ben Higgins goes off on these long soliloquies and I get bored 3 sentences in because he keeps going. But Matt has decent things to say and can show that he's really listening. And even though the conversation was every conversation with The Bachelor, I have walls, I have trouble opening up. he like actually had things to say. So I like that.
That's good. I would agree with you. He does seem like he's listening at least. And then he's not really great at employing empathy though, because I mean he goes back to like I guess it's the same conversation about how his mom was a single mom and he was raised in a family without a dad. And I mean it always falls back to that one, which like the girl could be talking about anything in the terms of like Sarah's like my dad has ALS and he's like yeah, well, I grew up in a single family home too. Like it's like
I don't have a dad, so
yeah. So I agree with you. Then they go to have this private concert in what looked to be the same room as Peter's parents' wedding vow renewals, but it definitely wasn't because apparently they're in different states. But anyway, that's date ends there. Girls go bowling.
I just want to say, just once, do I want them to walk out and have it not be a country concert? Like that we can like, whatever, we can have romance all day long there, but like just once I want them to walk out and have it be like Metallica or like AC/DC. I'm like, can we fall in love with Ender Sandman playing? That would be the twist that we all want.
Or what if they walk in and it's like Little Uzi or Travis Scott, and it's like sicko mode, and then they can like you're right. It's always country. It's always like this melancholy song. Looks like they get Aloe Black next week though, which
Great. I'm very excited about that. I know exactly who that is, and I can't wait.
He apparently needs $1. That's one of his songs. I know that went right over your head there. The girls. The group date is the girls go bowling, and it was kind of funny to watch them all kind of hang out. And Chris Harrison shows up and creates a competition, and then they gave all these girls frumpy T-shirts, and they all looked like they were, grocery tellers in their shirts. All of a sudden, Serena made it look cute at least by tucking it up, showing some stomach and stuff like that, but.
They all tried. There were the French tucks and everyone tried something different, but.
You saw some people, is a French tuck where you do one side tucked in, the other side hangs out?
Yeah, that's what that is.
Is that really?
Look at you. Yeah, you nailed it.
Dang. I didn't see that when I was in France, but I just guessed. The pink petals versus the blue somethings, and I wrote down the pink petals because they won. I thought for a group date in it being The Bachelor, there was not enough bowling puns for this date for me. There's so many things you can do with bowling, talking about being thrown in the gutter or, striking out or getting a strike or, being fingered, all these things that you can do with bowling.
It's true. They really missed the fingering the whole thing. That was a gaping hole that they missed.
I'm sure everyone was disappointed, but they send the losing team home, and then the girls go and sit down and essentially come right back.
Because obviously Matt only liked the girls on the blue team, so he was like, "I actually don't want to do this."
That had to be it. I mean,
you guys were supposed to win, so now this is awkward because.
Or maybe he wanted to show off his god awful Hawaiian shirt that he was wearing. I did not understand that at all. It wasn't ironic. It didn't fit the theme of anything. It was just there.
Yeah, I didn't. And then it was like, I didn't know what to not look at. Do I not want to look at him making out, or do I not want to look at what he's wearing? It was all very I just have to look down.
It was a great opportunity for a potty break is really what it was, because there was, I took a picture of it. I posted it on our Instagram and Twitter at ROS guys. Check it out on Twitter and Instagram. But he literally kisses Michelle's nose. He comes in, and I guess that's why he leaves his eyes open, because I think he had his eyes closed and he just tracked right to her nose. He was like a 6'5" neti pot, essentially, when he was kissing Michelle.
Men, if your mouth is touching bottom lip and nose, you're doing something wrong. That's too much. It's too much. It's the minimum standard, Matt. That's all he needed to do, was not do that.
I think that if you're touching nose at all, you need to reevaluate your approach, maybe back up, take a breather, open one eye slightly.
Look, I'm not here for people's fetishes. Like, you do whatever you want to do.
That's a whole nother topic we can get into here.
But I think that's why they brought Heather in, though, because she doesn't know any better. They were like, all the girls were like complaining that Matt was a bad kisser. So like 6 weeks into this, we were like, we got to bring someone in.
Someone that doesn't know what she's doing. Heather. Did she kiss Colton or did he say no? I don't remember.
She kissed Colton, but I think that at least as of 2019, she had not been kissed again. So.
Oh, wow.
Born again, kissing virgin.
Good for her. Good for her, because that's what the Bible wants. Michelle got the group date rose, which made Chelsea really upset. Chelsea is always like the first one eliminated, like from like getting the group rose, or the last one eliminated. Like it's so and so or Chelsea, and then Chelsea's always the one that gets like cut, from my opinion. So I thought it was interesting. I'm looking at my notes here. My next note is Heather thinks she's cute and funny. We've already talked about that. Then we have the return of Tyler Carmen to talk to his good buddy, who was wearing a turtleneck again, and Tyler was wearing a t-shirt. So again, extremely confused. Matt was talking about how well this process worked for Tyler, which makes me laugh because define well, like
he got rejected on national television and then didn't go on a show again. So like, if that's success, then nailed it, buddy. You did it.
I mean, post-show success is like he dated Gigi Hadid and he dated supermodels and he dated this. Like, is that what Matt's looking for? Like, is that the success? I was very confused when he said success because Tyler got his heart ripped out, that season. And then the girl that turned him down got dumped Jed, then went back to Peter, got denied by Peter, then went to Tyler. Like, he was literally the silver medal, or still bronze. I need to watch the Olympics more.
But did he get Instagram followers? So yes, he found success on the show.
So I thought it was weird when he said how well this worked for Tyler because, by all stretch of the means, Tyler was not Bachelor. He did not get the girl that the show was intended for him. So he got to travel a lot.
Yeah, and he got the supermodels. He would not have done that without the show. So
yeah, and Hannah had sex with Peter 5 times in a windmill, and she told Tyler to take it slow because she kind of labeled him a man slut. And so, I mean, good on you, Tyler. But then he has this one-on-one with.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is that how guys talk to each other? Like, I've known a lot of guys in my life, and I've never like had anyone be like, "Hey, so you getting booed up?" Is that like a thing? Is that like, do guys just like play pool and talk about like, "What up, fool?"
Remember the whole locker room talk thing that was big in 2016? That's what real locker room talk is. It's like, "Hey, buddy, you getting booed up?" You're like, "Oh, you in love? Oh my gosh, dude, you in love? Look at your eyes. Like she's perfect for you, man. We're so happy." Yeah.
Okay, that's what I assumed. Yeah, all very like PG, like.
Correct. Okay. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Fool. Like, you got.
Are you two going steady? Oh yeah, that's so cool. That's rad. That's what we say in California, at least. Then he has his date with Katie, and his idea for a date with Katie is to prank his best friend. And he gets oddly into it. He's like, yeah, rub his nipples. This is great. Yeah. Oh yeah. Ooh, whisper in his ear. Matt or Tyler had to be sitting there, thinking he was going to be laid by this girl that was massaging him. He had to be thinking that. And we actually got a question on Instagram from Ryan about the show, and he said, why did Tyler Cameron seem so pissed after they revealed they pranked him on his massage? My theory is he thought he was going to be laid the entire time just because of the audacity and strangeness of the entire thing. So I think that's why he was upset when Matt and Katie came in.
Absolutely, because this isn't your foreplay being rolled with with a roller on your head, like while being mounted. Like that was like step 8 in the process.
Yes, yeah, again, we're talking going into personal fetishes that I want to leave on the side here. Yeah, I mean, it was bizarre. And then he got in and he started rubbing Matt's shoulder. And I know that was like for comedic effect, but it was very strange. And they, like through the whole
what
thing.
I noticed there was that he like immediately, like it took like 2 seconds and he immediately knew it was Matt. So I was like, you're familiar with that. Like, this is what you guys do.
He knew instantly. He was like, hey, yeah. I know who that is. Like, it was unbelievable. So that was his date with Katie. And
Did you like it? Did you like
what aspect of it? Did I like that they did something silly?
Yeah, like was that entertaining?
I thought it was funny, but then he sends her home for lack of chemistry. But the whole chemistry aspect of the date, like you literally took Piper to a carnival, that you had to yourself, and you're focusing on each other the entire time. On your date with Katie, you're focusing on Tyler. And where are the moments to be romantic with him when you're so caught up in your friend getting massaged on a table to the point where you want to put your own hands on him to be funny. I mean, you literally wanted to have physical touch with him for comedic effect, and not her. So like, I don't really blame her. I thought her conversation at the dinner table was real. I thought she sounded real as heck. Mm-hmm. And then she gets eliminated. And he said other relationships are further along. And so maybe he wasn't into her, and this is the way that they kept her longer so she could become the Bachelorette. I'm not entirely sure. But I did like more things that Katie said. I wrote them down. And she said, you start painting your future when you're with someone, and it's too soon to be counted. And it's too soon to be counted out. He said he doesn't see a future with her, and it's so early on where, like, I know this whole thing is about finding a wife or whatever it may be, but at the same time, that's down the road. So, you can count someone out prematurely. It's just, I thought it was interesting as well.
She articulated it really well.
She did, and I don't know if I'm impressed with her or like I'm just used to Kit just standing there staring off into nowhere, talking about the gold Bentleys that she rode around in.
Well, right, and that he was really babysitting her, not really a date, so it was.
I like making cookies because it reminds me of my mom. Because
he was so kind to think of me because he's the one who planned this date for me, and he remembered because it's totally him.
Yeah, he loves it, and my mom was so busy with the Hollywood elites that we baked cookies, and that's where we connected. Now I'm connecting with him.
I do want to say with Katie though, she walked in and she was like, "Wow, it's so pretty in here," and I don't typically like recognize background or whatever, but that it was like just a pink explosion, like a dollhouse from 1960 horror movie that just like exploded in there. And it was, again, I was like distracted because it was everything was like multiple pinks, and I couldn't even like listen to their conversation.
I agree with you. I felt like I was stuck in like the Bly Manor where she like moves all the dolls around the house where the ghosts are. Like that's like literally how I felt when they were in their date setting. Yeah, and then the episode ends with Heather coming in, then she gets stuck in the revolving door, and then it seems like they knew each other. So like the first time they ever met, I'm sure maybe they FaceTimed before, who knows, but they did a lot of TikTok videos this quarantine, so who knows the extent of which they were talking. But that's where it ends, before a rose ceremony, another to be continued, blah, 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 blah. So,
things I don't care about whatsoever. Like they're like, it's a cliffhanger. No, like I couldn't care any less.
She's about to be eviscerated. So, which depending on where you are, that's either gonna be really interesting or really bad. So we'll have to see. But this is Romancing Our Stones. In each episode that we watch, we have a Stones rating. Each one of us men have 2 stones to give. And since Alex is not here, Kathryn's going to decide if if they inspired memories for her. She has 2 memories to give. So then we have that to give it a score. Where do you rank the show? So sorry, let me clarify since you're new here. 2 stones means you enjoyed the episode. 0 stones means an act of castration would be preferred to watching this particular episode. Is the way that it's presented.
Here, are there half memories allowed?
We typically don't allow halves.
Okay.
You have to commit. You can't just,
It's an extreme one or the other. Okay.
Yeah. Well, you can do one. You can do 1 stone.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Or 1 memory.
I'm gonna go. You know what? I'm just gonna give it 2. I was entertained enough. I liked it. I psychoanalyzed the whole thing. Couldn't turn the brain off. I liked the dates. Honestly, I thought they were really like realistic-ish. And I mean, who doesn't have a personal carnival thrown for them?
Yeah.
And yeah, it was entertaining enough. There wasn't enough that was like they sent MJ home. That was great.
Yeah. Well, you asked me, I didn't ask you back. Did you like the Katie date, the one-on-one?
Yeah, I mean, it was friend zone from the very beginning. Like the moment I heard what they were doing, I was like, oh, that's the end for her, but this is gonna be cute. Like they're gonna have fun.
And I thought she was great. And if you bring her into that date to perform a certain way, and then she does really well, to dump her because there's a lack of chemistry, I'm like, that's on you.
Well, you didn't really set her up for chemistry at all, unless that's your chemistry, which is great, but that was not on the show.
Do you think whoever he ends up with will have to move in with him and Tyler?
Yeah.
I mean, Tyler's not leaving the picture. It doesn't look like.
No, Tyler and him will share a room. They'll have bunk beds. Whatever they do with those bunk beds will be on them, but they'll have bunk beds, and then she'll have her own room.
So it sounds like a match made in heaven. I'll give it 2 stones too, because actually I enjoyed it as well. It dragged in certain areas, but they have 2 hours to fill, which I'm starting to think is too much time, for these shows, especially, and I don't know, it's a lot to commit, especially the double weeks.
Oh yeah. The only thing that could make it better would be if they took out like the commentary that the girls give, like oh, my heart is beating, or one of these girls is going to go home tonight, and they had like a real narrator come in and be like,
oh, like Morgan Freeman.
Her heart stopped beating. One of these girls was surely going to get mauled by the other. I would like that for the 2 hours.
Katie began to realize that she was putting herself in the friend zone, and she had to find a way out, or else she would risk going home. Yeah, that would be kind of cool. I'd like that too. Well, you heard it here. It's a 4 stones. Well, it's a 2 stone, 2 memory episode. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at ROStonesGuys, on Instagram at ROStonesGuys, and follow us on YouTube at ROStonesGuys. If you have any questions that you want to bring up for us to mention the show, be free to slide into our DMs. You want to be a guest host, let us know. We're happy to have you. Being a guest host, you did awesome. So thank you very much. And
it's fun.
You're welcome back anytime.
If you need a mental health expert, or just a Bachelor expert, I'm always here.
I'm very much appreciated. But thanks for listening. We'll catch you next week. Have a good week.